Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On the Bright Side. I'm your host, Caroline Susko. I'm so glad you're here with me today, and if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us. So for those of you who are new, this podcast started as a mental health podcast, but has transformed basically into everything that goes on behind a girl's bedroom door. Advice giving, tea talking, confidence boosting. So welcome to that conversation and welcome to that place. So today we're hopping into one of those conversations, and today we are giving you guys advice. Now, I asked you guys for advice you need, what your worries are, literally what's going on in your life. And you guys wrote in some really, really good ones. Honestly, some that took my breath away and some that I completely related to. No, when we were recording this, there were some that quite literally took my breath away, and we were all like too stunned to speak because we didn't. You guys will see. All right, we talked a ton, so let's just get into it. Today, I'm here with my roommates. We are all graduating in what, 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
Except for me.
I think so.
Except for Cam.
Most of us are graduating in
for the second time.
a month, and we decided, we decided it was time to get the roomies on the pod to give some advice, and you guys wrote an advice, and we are here to answer it from a lot of different perspectives.
Yes.
All right.
Actually,
I feel like we kind of need to say hi. Like we kind of just jumped in.
You wanted us to
jump in.
Yeah. Anyways,
I think we should all get a profile. You should say how you met each of us. So I live with my freshman year roommate and some other girls.
wow.
So most of us.
Let me go first.
Okay.
Oh. Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm the girl that ditched Carol to not get bagels with her, but now we're best friends.
No, so freshman year I had no friends, and I was trying to find friends, and
No friends. Thanks. Freshman year roommate over here. Thanks.
And so I asked Lauren to get a bagel, and she said yes, and I went with another group of girls. And I cried.
She did do that. That was a little mean.
She did do it.
I said she did do that, and that was a little mean.
Say how we met her.
I met Carol through Riley, her freshman year roommate, because I basically took in Riley because Carol never came out or did anything with us. So Riley always hung out with me and my friends, and then Carol eventually came along at the end of the year, and we were randomly all going to live together, and it was kind of like, come over and hang out.
And what was your first impression?
Oh, it was... Ew, what was it?
I remember we were getting ready. We were going to go out, and we had 4 hours to go out, and you're like, I need to start getting ready now. You're like, I need to do my makeup. You're like, it's going to take me 2 hours.
I'm like, I have 5 minutes. Awesome.
We were like,
great timing.
Oh, God, okay. She's that girl.
And she still is.
She still is.
Yes.
But
I've gotten my ready under control, though.
Definitely.
It's under an hour.
You
Jen's more of a problem.
You also,
than ours.
yeah, Jen can be more of a problem then.
Yeah.
to get
That's
ready.
pretty hypocritical now.
The other day, she's like, out of the million times I've gotten ready in college, I got ready in 30 minutes the other day.
that was
Okay,
mad.
Casey.
We met in...
Well, Casey was my rush crush.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you guys know that?
No.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Through recruitment.
I saw her Instagram. I go, I like her. She's
And
from
she
Texas.
thought my name was Kaysen. We were each other's number one, and we didn't get each other.
Yeah, but
But that's okay, because that's kind of, if I was her little right now, that'd be fucking
weird.
That
And
would-
Casey's
that's so
older.
crazy.
Casey went to Texas first and then came here.
And it got here.
Yeah.
And a gap year, so I'm old.
Sly. All right, Cam.
Let's hear Cam's first impression of Carol.
I lived with Jen, who is another one of our roommates, in our sorority house because we're in a different sorority than Carol. And I'm a year younger, so I'm the only one not graduating this year. And I was pulled into our 7-person apartment by Jen. And I first met Carol in her sorority house. Caught her on a bad day. And I was like, hey, so I met Carol today. And I don't know if she likes me. And Jen was like, oh my God, no, she can just be like that.
I was
Don't
like,
worry.
if you knew Carol, you would understand. I go, that's not Carol, I promise.
Yeah. Okay, my turn.
Your turn, girl.
I did not meet Carol until college. However, we lived a town over from each other our entire lives, and we never met. And then we came to college 4 hours away, and I met her at a Darty, where, you know, she was getting quite silly. She was frolicking through a field, and I said, this girl's going to be my friend.
That's the day I got poison ivy, wasn't
It's
it?
true,
Yeah, and I rubbed the ointment on
I
you.
had-
Yeah.
I
We took turns.
We did.
This was in Carol's like freshly, I feel like, going out phase, and she was just a social butterfly.
Spontaneous Carol.
Very spontaneous.
Spring Carol, like
Spring
she's having
Carol
Carol.
was a different type of
Breed.
human being.
Yeah.
We've been friends ever since. So now we get to hang out when we're at school and when we're at home, unless she moves away from me. And for the rest of our silly lives.
Okay, so you guys asked all these questions, so I'm gonna get into them.
I'm so nervous.
I know.
I love this.
My friend and I have been best friends for all of college, but this year she's been super toxic towards me and every day acts differently towards me. We are supposed to live together again next year, and I've tried talking to her about it multiple times. A lot of my other friends feel the same way about her, and I think I should cut her off, but I'm kind of stuck. I don't know what to do, and what's the best decision for me going forward?
Do not live with her.
I think personally you should do your own thing and just be like, this is not okay for my mental health. Do your own
be
thing.
straight
Like,
up.
just leave her straight. Tell her straight up and be like, I can't do this anymore.
I feel like a lot of college is just understanding like how to put yourself first and understand who you are as a person. So like really focusing on yourself.
If you have a toxic relationship with someone before you live together, like it's living together is not going to fix it. That's like trying to save a marriage with a baby. Like that's not going to solve anything. It's going to make it worse, if anything.
So if it was like me, how what would
Okay.
like we have to like we have
Carol,
to.
we've actually been meaning to talk to you for a long time. No,
I'm the problem.
This isn't
I
working
think you
out.
have to be selfish with your living situation, and I think you should go to her and say, it sounds like from your question that you sent in to all the viewers, that you have tried to talk to her about it in the past. I think you should go to her and say,
Like an in-person conversation.
Yes, like,
in-person
straight up
conversation.
conversation,
Always,
like-
text messages can always be misconstrued, and you can't
Yes.
read tone over the phone. So I would go to her and say, I don't want this to be more of a conversation than it needs to be, or more of an argument than it needs to be. But I just want you to know that I've been feeling this year, like, you could even phrase it like, I need some independence, like, I really want to live on my own. Or if you do need to have roommates and you're looking to live with someone else, I would just phrase it in a way where you're like, I've really appreciated our friendship throughout college, but I feel like at this point in my life, over the past few years, because of XYZ, and give specific examples, like, write it down in your notes beforehand so you don't forget in the moment. Because of XYZ, I don't feel like our friendship is going in the direction that I want it to be. And for that reason, I need to be selfish with my living situation and go in a different direction. I'm sorry if this negatively impacts our relationship.
Kim is such a freaking wordsmith.
It's like she's done this 15 times.
she's like,
That's all, basically.
okay, sales
Yeah.
conversation.
Just be
I
honest
don't
with
think
it.
we
You
can
just have
do
to be
this
honest
job.
with that, Ray, because you don't
Agreed.
want to live with a toxic relationship. I've seen my
Yeah.
friends go through toxic relationships like that, and it's not good.
And it just
And
like,
it's just like
it's
they
going to
mentally
be-
are drained from it, and it's never turns out good.
It's
You
just
could
going to be a
also-
living hell semester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also frame it in a way that you're like, since we're already so close, I think we should really branch out and
Yeah.
have some
Good,
new
yeah.
friends. It builds character.
It builds character, and you just have to go through it, and like you branch out to other people besides those people, and,
And
you
if
make
it can
new.
be avoid
Avoid
Moral of
it,
the
and
story,
like
honesty
you-
is the best policy.
honestly.
Even if it
Other
causes
people.
more drama in like the heat of things, in the long run, it's going to be better for you because you'd rather have more drama quickly than.
New question?
Lauren's done with this one.
Okay. This guy ghosted me and I don't know why. It's eating me up.
Yeah.
My friends told me it's weird to ask, but I'm just a girl who has a million what ifs in my brain about why. Should I ask, and what should I say if I do?
Can I?
Would you like to take the floor?
Riley, you take it
where
first.
she's asked why.
Coming from a guy that I hung out with this since freshman year, we've been friends since freshman year, and then this coming up senior year, like we started hanging out, like going on dates, whatever, like that, and then all of a sudden he ghosted me all of a sudden, like I was questioning it because I was like, it's awkward because I'm gonna be around your guy friends, like all that, like I'm gonna be around, so I asked him, and he honestly was not so nice about it, and like
he was mean.
he was mean about it, and but honestly, getting the answer, I was like, okay, so I can move on and do better things. And honestly, ask him the questions, because if you keep, I was overthinking in my head all the time because I didn't have answers for a couple weeks, and like that was eating me away. So honestly, asking the question, like, yes, if it hurts in a way, honestly, it's better than just overthinking scenarios in your head. You'll be fine.
I am not as mature. Well, for one, I saw this advice on TikTok the other day that really just hit home, and this girl was saying how if a guy knows that you're out of their league, they will self-sabotage. And honestly, I was like, that's so true. Like, I feel like if a guy knows that you're not, like, they're not good enough for you or whatever, like, they're gonna be the ones to, like, mess it up. So I honestly feel like
I think girls do that as well.
I agree. And yeah, I mean, I've tried to be a lot better about it, like, as I've grown up, about, like, ghosting guys back, because I know, like, you know how it feels from the other side. I will say, as someone who's been ghosted many, many times, I feel like asking is always good, but also I'm kind of a fan of, like, just saying something that makes them know that what they did was immature.
Yeah, like a little, like a mini stab.
Like a little, like, you know, if you're gonna ask a girl on a
Yeah.
date and you don't want to go, maybe just don't ask her next time.
Yeah, that was good when you said that. That was a good one.
Yeah.
But I think trying to reason with why they ghosted you is just a slippery slope, and then you end up being like, well, what did I do? And it's nothing that, like, you never make someone ghost you. Like, unless you were quite literally harassing them and their entire family, like, I think ghosting is just on them. Like, they're just not mature enough to end
and if they are mature,
relationship.
they can talk about it, like, enough and give you, like, that, like, the
Yeah.
other day, I got that weird
Closure's closure. Like, closure doesn't feel good, but at least you know.
And
honestly,
honestly,
anybody that ghosts you is not somebody that you want to be with in general.
Yeah.
Like, let them show their
So,
colors once, and if, like...
Never let a man tell you twice that he don't want you.
And honestly, in college, I've
knew I
talked
was
to
gonna
so many of my
sneak in.
girlfriends. They have ghosted people, and so many guys have ghosted them. It's just
Yeah.
like kind of a college culture at this
Yeah,
rate.
it
Like,
is
it
so
sucks.
our
It
age.
sucks.
It's so
But like,
unfortunate.
girls will do it, guys will do it. Like,
Everybody's
it sucks.
going through the dating experience right now where
Yeah.
they're testing the water, so it's
Yeah.
like common for ghosting to happen,
Yeah.
and like sometimes you don't get the closure that you want, but it's the closure that you need at the end of the day
Yeah.
to like help you move forward.
Yeah.
I think it's good karma to not ghost people.
100%.
I think,
Like, if you're
have
mature
those
about
back.
it, you're bringing that on yourself. Like, you put out into the world what you want to get back.
I always try to talk my friends out of ghosting people. I just think it builds a lot of maturity, like, within yourself to be able to have that conversation, whether it's a conversation
learn about
or
how you
whether
do
you've
it.
gone on 1 or 2 dates and you just say, hey, like, I had fun going out with you. Like, I think you're a great guy / girl. Like, I don't think I want to continue going out. Like, hope you have a great life. Like, it doesn't have to be a big
you have a great
conversation.
life.
Like, it could be
Bye.
anything. But I also think, in terms of your friends saying it's weird if you ask, I don't think it is. I think do whatever you want. I think
think you
people
should
think.
ask.
So
Put him
what
in his
should-
place.
So
Put him in his
what-
place.
And people
I think
always
it makes
say,
them
like,
uncomfortable.
so what
and
should
should
they-
be
what should they
uncomfortable.
say?
I think you should text him. I think I'm gonna give you two
Can I read it
scenarios.
again?
If
Yeah.
he's someone in your life, say you see him really often, maybe he's in a larger extended friend group, you always see him at the bar, whatever it may be. I think you should text him and just be like, hey, like, haven't heard from you in a little while, like, haven't talked to you in a bit.
Like, are we on the same page? Like,
Yeah,
I
Where's
just
your
wanna get
where's
my-
your head at?
Right, I just
That's
make
Yeah.
sure we're on
I,
the
I
same
always
page.
ask, where's your head at?
Like, less is
Where's
more.
your head at? Want to make sure we're on the same page, something like that. I think if he's someone you're never going to see again, like you met him on Tinder or whatever, and you went on one date and had fun and now he's not talking to you anymore, I think just text him and straight up ask, like, hey, I had fun on our date, like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being vulnerable. I think people always think, I don't want to be vulnerable, I don't want to make it seem like I care.
Yeah.
But texting and saying, like, hey, have fun on our date, like, disappointed I didn't hear from you, like, would appreciate an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is absolutely fine to say, and I think no one should make you feel like that's weird to say, because I think that's taking the mature route and finding
That's
out.
way more
like,
mature than just
Absolutely.
letting it fizzle
So, yeah.
Text.
Text. Send it
Absolutely.
right now.
What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose.
Exactly. And if
And-
you don't want to and you want to just move on, then don't. But if you're like, it's eating away at me, like, I want to know.
You're sitting in the
ask
rocking
them.
chair, and the rocking chair is not going anywhere. That's
Yeah.
how it is
Whoa,
right now.
Lauren.
Oh, wow.
She's been sitting in the
Oh my god,
Oh,
she's been how long have you
I've been
on
sitting in
that?
the rocking chair for so long. I've been sitting on it. The rocking chair is not going anywhere.
Lauren's like that TikTok sound that's like, and then you exist in the all that's
of
come
your
before
own
you.
But if you need more of like an actual text, DM me and we will write.
God,
We
send
Oh
will
my
us-
god, we will
We'll
so
write
Send
you
us
right
your number and we'll call you.
seriously.
We
would
have a
love
text
that.
ready for you. Don't you
We have
worry.
a text.
We
All
will
right.
draft one.
I
up.
love to draft a text.
This one, like, you have to listen more because it's longer. So, like,
Okay.
put the clues together, I
Okay.
guess.
Oh,
It's
God.
because it's
Wait,
a little.
it's a game
Is
of
it like
clue.
a situation?
It's a game
Yeah.
of clue. We were
Okay.
prepared for this our whole
Let me get my
lives.
notepad.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, can I read it?
Yeah, do you want to read that one?
I want to read one.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I may be one of your few male listeners, but I consider myself your biggest fan. I'm 24 and live with one of my friends from college, female, 23. Recently, we've started having intense carnal relations.
I don't know what that means.
I'm gonna need a
me look it
Google
up.
check. None of our friends know, and she wants to keep it like that. The tricky thing is I'm starting to develop feelings, and I don't know what she's thinking. I've always done nice things for her, like cook her breakfast and occasionally bring her flowers, but I don't know if she sees me as a boyfriend. Is there anything I can do to trick her into loving me, or will I forever be stuck as her friend? I would love to teach you how to trick her into falling in love with you.
Step one. Because step one, there's so many steps that go into it, and it's just
it closes with regards, confused boy toy.
Totally.
I love it. Honestly, shoot your shot. What do you have to lose?
But
like,
they
live together. I know, but like at that rate, like
your
you've
house.
been friends for so long. If you bring flowers, what's the big deal?
Very new girl situation.
I will say you've already started having these romantic relations,
Yeah.
so it's too late. You might it's too late to save
go back.
Yeah, it's too late to go back, so you might as well go all the way.
Like, take the step. The worst that happens is you stay friends. The best thing that happens, you date.
It works
Yeah,
out.
and clearly if you're
Yeah.
close enough friends that you can
the
get
worst
past
thing that
that,
happens
like
is you
if you
move
were to
out.
have that conversation and be like, I'm kind of feeling like this or this, like hopefully your friendships, you're close enough to live together, you'd be close enough to like get past that if it were to.
And like some
go
of
down
us
that
have
way.
had guy friends who have confessed, and it's gone both ways. Like
Yeah, like
one of my friends, he was like, I like you, and I was like friend, love you.
Yeah.
And then you,
I have been dating my boyfriend for like a year and 3 months.
but
A year
they
and 2
started
months.
best friends first.
Yeah. So at first I was really conflicted, and I was like, I don't know if I can see you in that way. Like, I've spent so long seeing you as just my best friend and trying to see you that way. I don't know if I can shake that. But as time went on, and by time I mean literally a week and a half, maybe 2, I decided, never mind, I actually definitely can see you in that way. And we ended up talking for a few months just to see if being in like a romantic relationship would work for us, because friendships and romantic relationships are definitely much different, and obviously we've been together for a year and a couple months, so it definitely did work out. So I say go for it, but I also think if it doesn't work out, if you tell her how you feel and she says, you know, I just don't think I see this being a relationship in my life, I love who you are, I'm sure she does, like as a friend, I think then you're just faced with the decision of, am I okay with this being a physical relationship, or do I need to take a step back and say, like, this can just be a friendship for me because your feelings are developing too much?
I think he should just make breakfast flowers and say it.
I have
Agreed,
some,
but I think then he has the option.
I have
If
some
she says
opposing
can't do
thoughts.
it.
Okay, what's your...
So rereading this, he says none of our friends know, and she wants to keep it like that.
Exactly. So
And then
we've already talked
he
about
doesn't say anything about her doing nice things for him. So I'm feeling like she's kind of trying to just keep this on the down low, and I'm not feeling like she is wanting more. And I think just by, you know, I feel like I know you by now. I feel like you deserve so much more than that. And I think you deserve somebody that would want everybody to know that you guys are having intense romantic relations.
So make the breakfast for yourself.
I would say make the breakfast for yourself and buy yourself flowers, and
Actually, true. See if she pulls,
pull
becomes,
back and see.
pull back and see how she reacts.
Theory.
Yeah,
Totally.
pull
Like,
back.
if you
Pull back, and
away,
if she comes
and
towards you more.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, if she starts saying, like, hey, I feel like you've been pulling away, like, it's upsetting me, then you'll know, okay, she is wanting more of a relationship. But if you pull back and she doesn't put any effort into, like, maintaining the more, like, romantic relationship you have now, I think you have your answer. Like, it's not that important to her, so
Yeah.
you don't deserve to be in a relationship where you're not valued as much as you value the other person.
Yeah. So pull back and see what happens.
Yeah, so we take it all back. Don't tell her you like
Pull
her. Pull back and see what happens.
Okay. I want to be confident in myself and not need male validation to do so. Every time I work on myself, the second a guy starts talking to me, I find myself falling down the same rabbit hole. Help.
Oh my god, I love this question. Did I write this?
Wait, did we collab on it? He's like, wait, is this not right?
I must have slept and entered this in.
I want...
You're gonna have your moments, like, we all go through changes in life. Like, you're gonna have your moments you're the most confident. You're gonna have your moments where you're doubting yourself. And, like, you just have to find the little things that you appreciate about yourself and go from there. Because there's days where, like, I'll love myself. I'll be like, oh my god, I look gorgeous today. And then there's other days I'm like, wow, I look ugly. There's days where you go through that. But, like, everybody goes through that. And you just have to find confidence in your own ways, in your own self. Like, through little things. Even, like... a dimple or two. Like, I love my dimples, and I'll be like, oh my god, I have dimples. Like, this is so
I love
cute.
your dimples too.
But it's like the little things you have to find about yourself that you love that will like won't change.
Yeah, I
like,
feel
you know what I mean? Like,
every time you slip in, like, it's okay to have like slip ups, and some days you're like,
yeah.
Totally.
I would really love if this guy kept talking to me.
Yeah.
But like, I think
Work
if you,
exactly.
I think
all-
yeah, as long as like when that happens, you like you recognize it and you're like, okay, like I need to like take a step back and be like, does this really like this doesn't determine anything about me? Like, yeah, I can be upset about it, but I'm not gonna like let it like change how I value myself.
Another thing with that is making time for yourself. A big thing that I do is me, myself, and I days where I either go shopping by myself,
Eat croissants.
eat croissants,
and watch Vanderpump Rules.
I'll go to Panera and do like homework and really getting comfortable with yourself and like understanding who you are and like what you are worth and being able to see yourself like who you are when you're alone and understanding the value of you during that time.
Definitely.
Yes, Lauren. Totally agree. Like, take yourself on a date. Like, just do like simple
doing
things.
that.
Like, it
And I
really can
think-
bring up your energy. And what I was gonna say before is that sometimes, like, when you're going through that, especially with guys, and you're really starting to doubt yourself, and you're noticing that just this pattern keeps happening. Sometimes it's okay to take a break from guys. Like, take some time for yourself. Take a moment to reflect. Just worry about you. Being single and being on your own is so awesome, and just like actually concentrating on yourself, I feel like you'll really see some serious changes in that way.
yeah.
Me,
honestly.
Lauren and Morgan, 21 years.
What about
Sit on it.
what Riley?
Riley's had a boyfriend.
Yeah, Riley's
I've had one as well.
Oh, so
You wouldn't watch the Sound of
Hey,
Music
girl.
with her.
Wouldn't watch The Sound of Music with me. Thanks for never
Oh.
listening to my
Honestly, you don't need
stories.
validation from boys. Like, from
Yeah.
And, like-
experience, like, I went abroad and there would be boys that would call me and my friends ugly. And we would
What?
literally, and we would literally be like, I cried. And then all my other guy friends around me, they were like, don't listen to him. Like, you are gorgeous inside and out. Like, don't think about that. Like, there are boys out there that are
Some boys like
blank
weirdly
holes.
flirt
Do you
like
know what I
that.
mean?
Guys are
And
just, like,
like,
insecure,
it's
though.
just like, yes,
They're
they're
taking out their
insecure,
own
and like you don't need
insecurities.
that from a guy. Like, yes, sometimes it is nice when a guy says, "Oh, you look pretty today." Like, that is nice sometimes, but you shouldn't rely on a boy to do that to yourself.
don't
You
need
should
that.
rely on yourself and the people that love you around you to rely on that.
Yeah.
To
You don't-
tell you you're gorgeous or pretty and all that. Go, Lauren,
Speak
please.
your truth.
You don't need validation to move forward in life.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is, I
You
think-
need your cup filled on your own, and like don't let someone fill that cup. Like, have your cup filled.
Yeah.
But also, that can take time. Like, it's not
It
gonna
takes
come.
time for
It's
sure.
been
Yeah.
21 years it counts.
Everybody's still working on it.
and we're
Yeah.
rolling.
You
Yeah.
just have to find one thing about yourself that you're like, you know what? At least I have this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I think for some people, like, I've had friends in the past, especially in high school, I think high school is such a hard time, where they've been like, I genuinely, like, there's nothing about myself that I like. And whether that's physically or, like, maybe you just don't like your personality, like, some people do deal with that. Like, they're like, I don't really like myself, and it's really hard to build that confidence. And we talked a lot about this in one of my high school classes, and on, like, a psychological level, confidence comes from accomplishments. So start doing something and get good at it. Whether it's like I just bought a watercolor set. Am I good at it? No, not at all. But
Not at
like
all.
I drew some little seashells the other day, and I was like, those are cute.
Wait,
like
they
I
were
could do
really good.
something.
I love
cute.
that.
Like, oh, that's cute. Like I did something artistic. Like I'm not an artistic person, so that made me feel like a little sense of accomplishment. Like go if you're like someone who likes to work out but you don't really run. Like go run a mile and then be like, hey, like I just ran a mile. Like good for me. Like do things that will make you like have
Try something
external
new.
validation from things you're doing for yourself. Yeah, try something new, pick up a new hobby, develop a skill at something so you can look at it and say like, wow, I'm good at something, like good for me, and you can build confidence that way, because it can be hard to just only pull from intrinsic value when you really aren't.
That was
And like
deep.
and like compliments. Like compliments are not what you need to be confident. Like you don't need to hear from other people that you're great. Like you need to
know it
believe
yourself
yourself.
first.
Which is hard.
Okay, next question. Do I go for the bad boy or the nice guy? The bad boy is adventurous
I wish you
and
guys
fun.
wait. I wish they could have just seen Jen's
face, for real.
Okay, start over.
Gone for both.
I just keep going. The bad boy is adventurous and fun, but doesn't get my humor. But he's a gentleman and kind and really has a soft spot, but doesn't really want a relationship. But the nice guy makes me laugh, and he's kind and shy, so smart and sweet, really gets my sense of humor. In the grand scheme of things, not much of an issue, but I have no idea what to do, and I feel bad and weird seeing them both, but nothing's exclusive yet, question mark, question mark.
Put the guy who's gonna put you first at the end of the day.
Honestly.
That's my
Or just
first instinct.
who do you like more?
It sounds like
I think it can be hard.
It sounds like
you-
honestly both seem. She said they're both genuine.
Yeah, they're both gentlemen.
Like,
yeah.
yes, one's more adventurous
but
or
one
whatever, and
says-
one's shy. But like,
One says he doesn't want a relationship.
One says he doesn't he
But
doesn't
don't go for
understand
the
her
guy
sense
just
of
because he
humor.
wants-
like
Yeah.
it just takes
I
time.
think if a guy doesn't understand your sense of humor, that's
That's
like
like a
an immediate no
red
for me.
flag.
Like
Yeah.
not a red flag. It's not their fault.
I
Some
wouldn't
people
say red flag.
No,
but
some
sometimes I don't understand humor.
No, I
I'll be
agree. I don't
honest,
think it's a
like-
red flag. I just think it's a deal breaker for me. Like if somebody didn't understand, like that would be like a crumbling feat
Yeah.
in a relationship for me. Like
Well, I
if
think
somebody
you're
didn't-
really funny.
But I think it sounds like the nice guy. Like they both seem like they like you, but I
Yeah.
feel like the nice guy overall. Like you didn't say a bad thing about this nice guy besides the fact that he's nice.
But
It
I
was,
also
like the
think-
bad connotation about him.
So
Yeah.
what guy?
I just
But
think
I-
the bad boy's the more exciting option, but it's not going to be
Yeah.
exciting in the long run. It's only exciting in the beginning.
I don't
Yeah.
know if this is a hot take, but
You like the bad boys.
no. Yes, but no. If your life was like a movie, like pick the person.
That's all right, Carol. Continue. I want to hear where this goes.
If your life was like a movie and everyone was watching your life, pick the person that everyone watching would pick.
I saw this the other day on TikTok.
I
Actually.
understand
so
that,
true.
but I honestly do disagree a little bit because I think
everybody would pick the bad boy.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I just think if you think more so about what other people would want you to do or what other people would do in your situation, you might make a decision based on how you think people will view you rather than what
But-
you really want to do. But also, for our the Summer I Turned Pretty fans, which I'm assuming most of you are because the Bright Side Pod gives that same vibe, if you read the first book, you would be like, oh, pick Jeremiah. Like, Conrad's an asshole. He's
Oh,
so
this
brutal.
is exactly, this
Yeah,
is it. This is
oh my
it.
god, true. Very
Good-
similar
good
analogy. Like Conrad's a
pop
good
culture.
person.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's going through a lot at the time, as is Jeremiah. But everyone wants her to pick. In the first book, it is different from the show, I will say. But Conrad's a lot more brutal in the first book. So I think most people would say, pick Jeremiah, it's a no-brainer. But you really have to go based on what you feel. And I think it helps to say, if I lost the bad boy and I only, like the good guy was my only option, how would I feel? And vice versa. I think asking yourself that question can kind of help
What
clarify
team were you
things.
guys? Because I was Conrad.
I went back and
Conrad,
forth so many
everyone's
times.
Back and forth.
I feel like the thing that Carol said could be taken like your way, but it also could be taken like if you're getting yourself into a bad situation, wouldn't you want to hear from an outside perspective if you're making a stupid choice?
Yeah,
like,
but I don't think either of them, like, I feel like neither of them sound like a bad choice, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
But if it's
Yeah.
coming down to like simplicity
Except for
of that,
Go ahead.
just go to the person you feel like you're gonna mesh with more and gravitate more towards.
Totally.
Like even if he's saying he's not in a relationship right now, like that might be okay for right now, and then just kind of go with like you go a few days without seeing each of them. It's like who are you thinking about? Who are you missing?
Yeah.
Like don't go for the guy that makes the most sense in that situation.
But if you
I
want a
think that's a good
relationship,
point.
don't go for the guy that doesn't want one. Like if that's your end goal in this, like you can't like
Especially in college.
yeah, you can't
Especially.
like maybe one day they will be ready for a relationship, but it is not your job to sit around making them ready
Yeah.
or
Agreed.
waiting
And
for
I
them
think
to be ready.
Jen's
And, like,
point is a
proving
really
yourself.
good point. Like take a week and be like, hey, like I'm really busy this week. Like tell them both, or like 5 days. Like oh, I just have a super busy week, and see who you're thinking about. Like that was a good point. If you take a step back and you say like, who am I missing more?
Snaps
like,
for Jen.
Snaps for Jen. Like I'm sitting at home watching a movie. Who do I want to be next to me right now? I think removing yourself from the situation a little bit will help you gain some clarity and make a more well thought out decision rather than something based on not what you truly feel.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Jen, you want to pick one?
Yeah. Hi, I had a falling out with some friends recently and we no longer talk. I'm really hurt by what they did and it takes a lot out of me to see them in social situations on media or in person. I don't want to put my energy into this or them, but sometimes it really just feels like there's shifts there. I feel like we all could have a few things to
Carol
say.
specifically could take
Yeah, it's a good one.
Carol,
Do we need to take
definitely
the
could.
My first piece of advice, I think it's so important to unfollow whoever you need to unfollow because at the end of the day, it's for you. And the biggest piece of advice I have is when you close the chapter, close it with a good heart and be happy for what you had and keep it that happiness in yourself, because if you have like negative energy towards a person or like really hate someone, the only person it's going to hurt at the end of the day is you, and it's just gonna like
energy.
eat you up. Like from personal experience, it ate me up. And like until I realized what I needed to do for myself and realized how to actually close that chapter, then that's when I could move on. And like when I unfollowed who I needed to unfollow.
It takes time. It's like mourning a friendship or mourning a relationship or anything like that. It just takes time.
And I think like friendship mourning like isn't talked about enough.
It's hard. Difficult.
Yeah, it's not.
It can be harder than relationships. You can have a much deeper connection with someone.
Yeah. And like I think it compares perfectly to a breakup, like in different ways, obviously. But like there's still like someone who is in your life like every day.
Yeah.
It's just different setting, like different.
Totally. And you can often have, I feel like, a deeper emotional connection to a friend. And a friend breakup can be even harder than a relationship breakup. Because usually a friendship can be like years on end. It may be like from birth. You've been friends with this person. Like it definitely feels like a loss. But I also think if you had that falling out, like I had that experience in high school and I was at fault. Like it was a situation where I wasn't being considerate of my friendships. Like I was in 8th grade, I was young, but having some perspective and kind of stepping away from the situation and asking yourself as well, how did I contribute to this? Like what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What would I change in the future to be a better friend? Can also be a really beneficial thing just to help you kind of grow. But if there was a falling out, it was probably for a good reason, and it sounds like it's time to move on to a different group of friends. And who knows, maybe after a couple years of growth, you may all reconcile. Like that's what ended up happening with me, and she's now my best friend again. But you never know. I think life can play out in different ways, and it's always better to take a step back and just be honest and kind when you move forward. And see who else you're able to have friendships and connections with and put yourself in new situations. Like if you're older and you live in a city or an area where you work, like join a running club. It's hard to make new friends when you're an adult, but it's definitely not impossible. And I think there's a lot more people that feel the way you do. And if you're in college and you're like, I have my friend group, how am I supposed to enter a new one? I guarantee you there's a lot more people than you think who feel like alone.
I personally in high school, I lost one of my best friends that I was friends with since elementary school, and I don't talk to her this day, but because I lost friendship with her, I have 3 of my greatest friends from that. So I say everything happens for a reason, even if it's not good, everything will turn out for the better.
But like Cam was saying before, there's so many opportunities that present. Like in college, I've met my best friends, and then I know that I'm going into the real world, you're gonna make so many more friends upon work, just going out and socializing with others. Like your opportunities aren't over. It's not like you're limited to the situation that you're in right now.
And all of our friendship breakups and mishaps have brought us to this realm.
Brought us to this countertop right now.
Right here. Yeah, Jen?
I was gonna say I had a freshman year, my roommate and I became best friends off the bat instantly. We clicked so well. And then after time, she gravitated with other people, and I kind of felt very disconnected and almost cut off because I felt like she was taking our friends with her. But again, we were young, and like I can look back now, you just kind of have to take the time to reflect on it in the sense of, again, like Riley was saying, like things happen for a reason. You grow as a person. You realize if that person chose to do those things, like you have to let them. And then it just brings out, it's scary, and it eventually it works out in the sense that you will find other people that like choose you too. Which is so important. Like you can't just put all this effort in one way just to keep that friendship going. If they choose to pull back, you have to let them and just protect your own peace.
You can only control your own actions. So like if somebody's gonna pull back, you can't make them continue to be friends.
You can't make someone like you.
No, exactly. You can't make someone like you. And honestly, if you try, it makes it worse. It makes them like you less.
Probably for the best. It's hard at first for a while, but eventually you'll come around.
There.
We can be your friends, whoever wrote this question. I'm like, please, everyone whose questions we're responding to, please DM Carol. I would love to talk more. Yeah, please come on over. I won't say our address on this, but just text me.
She's thinking about it. I won't say it, but it is.
I won't say it, but it is.
It rhymes with.
Okay, so this is a good question that I honestly, whatever. This is a good question. So I feel like I have no close friends. Like I'm friends with everyone, but super lonely. I'm going to start off with the bat with that. That's how I feel right now, and I think that's the best feeling that I have right now. I'm friends with all...
Wait,
what? No.
That sounds awful.
Okay,
that sounds awful.
Bad. That sounds bad.
Our eyes all...
No. I meant it... Okay, let me start again.
That's how I feel right now. I'm so glad we're here.
I feel that way. None of you are that close to me.
Welcome to this intervention.
I feel like I have... Okay. I did word that wrong. Okay, let me read it again.
I know what you're
I'm
doing.
keeping that in.
Because she goes, and I feel so lonely. That's what it is, right?
And I bring you here to talk.
Okay, let me read it again. I feel like I have no close friends. Like, I'm friends with everyone, but super lonely.
So they're rating that negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying like it's hard.
You're taking it in a more positive way.
So the way
She wants
that
to look
I
on the
took
bright
it
side.
is...
OTBS, girl.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. So in high school, there were cliquey groups. You got this group is this group, and they're strictly hanging out with this group. But in college, I feel like that's the best thing is having different friend groups and like having multiple friends to bounce off of because like you're hanging out with one people one day, but then the next another group the other day. And it's like those are the memories that you're going to make. You want to make friends along the way, and like having an amplitude of friends is really awesome.
Wait,
Definitely.
like
No, that
what?
makes-
What are you whispering? Just like
I feel like it can turn sticky, and I understand what she's saying. It's lonely because like some people might think you're hanging out with other people too much, and like people might not invite you to things, and that's when you feel the loneliness and stuff. When you should just invite everyone, even if they have friends. We all have different friends in this apartment. We all have different friends,
And I feel like-
we fully do. And like at that rate,
I think that's
you
what
just
makes
have
it work.
And I feel like if you feel like you're all like you just have like a bunch of acquaintances versus really close friends, like you can change that. Like if you reach out to some like
Put yourself out
not
there.
saying like I force everybody to be friends with me, but like I've been like an active member in making friendships happen. Like I reach out to people and like make plans. Why are you laughing at me, Lauren?
I'm
No,
an active member.
I'm an active member of making friendships.
I'm an active
If
member
that's a
of
better way of
making
saying I make
friendships.
people be friends with me. But like like texting people and like reaching out and saying like, oh, like we should do like making plans with them like one-on-one. Like that's a way to get closer with people. Like if you're constantly hanging out in all these like big group scenarios, you're not really like likely to get super close with one person or like,
And
two
also
people.
the phone works both ways. Like like you have to also put in the same effort.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a relationship. You like 50-50.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean, sometimes you have to put in a little bit more than what people like to like let people know that you're like trying, like you're putting yourself out there. And then if they're really not reciprocating it, then like
So then that's
Move on
then
to
that's
another
it. Yeah,
friendship.
But-
don't give too much of your energy. But
I do agree with what you guys were saying. Like in college is very much like everyone's friends with everyone. Whereas like high school, like did you guys have like names of your like
Yes.
high school groups?
Yep, still to this
Like,
day.
like, my
in
friend
Mean
group
Girls,
had-
like, we didn't have that, but my friend group would like name a certain group of people, but we didn't really have that.
Like my high school, all like the friend groups had names.
I will say
Like,
my,
my
high school,
friend group
like,
had
Sarah
their names.
Taylor was
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Different.
I will say, like, my high school, like, I was on student council. I also, like, played sports. I also took, like, hard classes for, like, humanities stuff.
Okay, Cam,
But-
where's this
but-
going?
all right,
Cam, all
around
person.
No, but I took,
She's like, I ran for president.
Yeah.
no, but
I ran for
follow
president. Did you
me.
know that you could do that at 18? Because I did.
no, my point is, like, I was in a lot of different things, so I had, like, I was friendly
same.
with people in a lot of different groups. Like, I had friends who, like, did musical theater, or friends that were in band, and those were things, like, I never did, but my high school wasn't very cliquey,
Mine
so I
was
can't
very
really
cliquey.
relate to that.
What's
yeah.
up, Jen?
I was just thinking maybe the person put it this way in the sense of like they have a lot of quality but not as much quantity,
Yeah.
and like how
No, wait.
the struggle.
A lot of quantity.
Sorry,
You have a
sorry,
lot of-
sorry.
That's
Thank
what I
you.
was thinking earlier too. Quantity.
You know what I meant, guys.
More quantity than quality. friends.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And that can be super lonely, and even like I feel like anyone could agree, like even having best friends, you can still have that lonely periods where you still
Yeah.
feel like you don't have
Yeah.
people.
Or like just some people are closer at certain points, like in the big friend
Relationships
group.
ebb
Yeah.
and flow.
And I wish there was like a better answer, because I know people that like have in high school that just had like friends and they never had their group and
Yeah.
they never had like even like their clique or like their really close
Yeah.
girls. So I get that's super hard to go through, because especially it can be lonely with having those people.
And
New
friends come like in the
opportunities.
weirdest way and just like be open.
I'd say just
Yeah.
talk to everybody. Like raise your chances of meeting more people and thus
yes.
finding better friends or
You're
new
gonna
friends.
You're gonna find your group. I went to summer. I lived at the Cape by myself and got a job, and I knew no one. And to this day, those people are probably my better friends than my home friends I've known for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Like you will find your people least expecting it,
Yeah.
and you'll be so amazed with the people you find.
just, like,
because-
put yourself out.
honestly, put yourself out there
That's
because
a great example. Step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Try
new
I lived
things.
alone and I didn't want to do it, but my sister was like, I did it and it was awesome. You should try it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And my best friends came out of that.
I want
and
to do
love them.
that.
One thing I do want to say though is I think loneliness can be a very difficult emotion to deal with, and I think when you're in a position where you're like, I've tried to reach out to people, I've tried to make friends, I feel like nothing's working. I feel like no one wants to be my friend. Loneliness is a very slippery slope, and it's very low towards depression on the emotion scale. So if your loneliness is heading in a direction where you're feeling like you have no one, please reach out to somebody. Like, reach out to your family.
Will be there for you.
Yeah, if you have
Always.
family that you're close with, or any friends who you feel like you're close enough with to have a deep conversation with, don't let yourself get to the point of, I have no one and nobody cares about me.
Yeah.
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Literally, talk to someone.
Anyone. Parent, cousin, any family member, anyone you can think of. Talk to.
Yeah.
Tell a stranger on the street. Like, someone will help you.
Tell us.
Yeah. Seriously.
DM
on the bright side.
DM on the bright side.
Like, I'm begging.
That's
like,
no
please.
joke.
Yeah. I'm gonna read this one because I kind of related to this one.
Yeah.
So I can't decide if I want to join a sorority, and I'm scared to make the wrong decision. So honestly, when I went for recruitment, I didn't get into the sorority I wanted, and my roommate, Carol, on the bright side, got into the sorority I wanted. No, I'm just saying.
No, Caroline, on the bright side.
First
It's
like
right?
on the bright side.
And I wanted her sorority, so my first reaction, I cried. And to this day, feel like I joined the best sorority, and I think about it like I didn't belong in the sorority I wanted to. So if you don't want to join a sorority, don't join a sorority.
Freshman year, I was contemplating joining a sorority, and it was COVID, so that obviously played a factor in it. So I decided at the end of the day I didn't really want to. My roommate wasn't either, so I was kind of influenced by her as well. And honestly, not joining a sorority has been a really good option as the other side, because at the end of the day, I had friends who went into sororities, and through their friends, I made more friends. So, yeah,
You don't need a sorority.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't
You don't
at
need
the
a
end of the
sorority.
day, you don't need a sorority to get through college. I know there is colleges that are like
Right, that are
very
more
young.
We're talking from a northern standpoint.
It's not an
Yes,
end-all
very
be-all
true.
to
A
be
New
in a
England
sorority.
school.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm right in the middle because I was in a sorority and then I dropped the sorority.
Boo. Tomato.
But I will say, like, it wasn't meant for me. Going into it, I didn't think it was for me. I just did it. And then I knew it wasn't for me, and I caught on to that very quickly. And while I did drop it, because it wasn't, I'll say it again, wasn't meant for me, but I still got 2 of my best friends out of it who are currently living with.
Yeah.
So it does work out. Like, if you do chose to go down that road, like, don't forget, like, it's okay to, like, drop it. You can change your
And when
mind
you
at
drop
any point,
it,
and you
she's
can
still
find
friends
from,
with
like,
all the same people.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like they're
They
gonna drop you. Like,
exactly.
it's like,
It doesn't work that way. So it's
It
just
doesn't
like
hurt to try.
it doesn't hurt to try. I did it. I don't regret it because I still got like 2 awesome people out of it. That like, so you can't have that kind of regret. So if you want to do it, do it.
But
and
if you're not,
It
like,
can't
if you're
hurt
not,
to try,
it's
but it
fine.
also can't hurt not to try.
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. No, I was gonna.
She's
ask
gonna be the
another
next
question.
Okay,
question.
I was just gonna say I was in a position where I never envisioned myself in a sorority. I went through recruitment and I really
Not
didn't
same.
have my heart set on any sorority until the final round. And I joined the sorority, and this is for people who may go through recruitment still being kind of on the fence. I joined the sorority. My entire friend group, I'm in a friend group of 13 people who are my year. Every single other one of my girlfriends joined a different sorority. So they would go to new member meetings, they would go to socials and formals, and I was the only one who was left out and couldn't go. And I was miserable. I was so upset. I was like, this sucks. Like, I hate being in my sorority. This is awful. Like, I clicked with a couple girls in my pledge class, but, you know, it was my whole friend group. So I was like, you know what? I'm still a freshman. Like, I really like the girls in my sorority. They're really nice, especially, like, the older girls.
Yeah.
So sophomore year, all of my girlfriends were like, oh, we're going to live in our sorority house. And I was like, you know what? Like, me too. Like, I'm going to give it a real shot. I like the girls a lot. Let's see if I can feel more connected to the sorority. And that was the best decision I'd ever made. Like, I lived in house sophomore year. It's how I met Jen. And we were roommates for the first semester, and that's how I got pulled into this apartment. But I loved living in the house. I became so close with all of the girls I lived with. It was so much fun. It was one of my favorite experiences of college. I loved it so much. And now, even being a junior who's a little more detached now that I've, like, graduated out of my positions, I've already, like, done the year term that they were. You know, I don't live in the house anymore. I go to chapter, I go to some events, I go to some socials. I just still feel so much more connected to the sorority because I had the experience of living in the house. So I also think if you're on the fence and you join and you're like, you know what, like, this is not for me, give it a chance. Maybe live in the house or go to a couple more socials, go to more events, put in a little more effort to meet people and really foster relationships and friendships, because you might end up thanking yourself and saying like, wow, I would have never had this experience if I had given up.
I think everybody's journey is different.
If you want to.
Yeah. Do what's best for you.
Advice from Lauren: save the money.
That's Lauren's only advice ever in life, is to save the money.
If you need like a life-saving emergency situation, save the money.
All right.
Literally.
I just feel like I have to read this one because I relate to it so much.
I'm scared about what is this?
It's like Lauren, it's like, I hate all my roommates and it's awful.
I'm like, boy, do I relate to this. I hate all my friends. No, it says, my parents don't get the love scene of 2024 and what us girls have to deal with. It gets so annoying because it literally is not the same thing. Nowadays, men don't show up doing romantic gestures.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, do I have stuff to say about this.
This is a good question for you.
My parents are very old-fashioned in the sense that they're used to like.
I don't even think it's your parents. It's like
I mean, it's everybody's, but
Yeah.
I feel
I
like
think some are
I think
more
mine are
into-
very vocal about it, specifically to me. In the sense that like they think that everybody should be going on dates, like that's how you're meeting guys, and like that they actually want to speak to you more than just sleep with you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just like the harsh reality of what like the time that we're living in right now. And when that happens to me, and I feel like I'm hearing a lot from my parents about like, well, why aren't you putting yourself out there? Like, why aren't you going on dates? Like, it's really hard to find like guys in this day and age that like are looking to take girls out on dates with like good intentions. Like, I think even if you find a guy that's maybe wanting to take you out on a date, like chances are probably gonna ghost you a week before, or like chances are they're probably gonna show up and then like expect something more, and if you don't give it to them, then they never talk to you again. Like, that's just the sad reality of it. And I feel like when I'm finding myself getting like the lectures from my parents, like leaning on my friends is what helps me, like talking to people that understand it. Because like it's not of ill intent that they keep saying that stuff to you. It's just what they know. But talking to somebody that gets it and is living it at the same time as you is where I feel like I find myself feeling better about the whole situation.
Yeah, because like the amount of times I've been asked like, oh, who are you bringing a formal? I'm like, and like sometimes like it's honestly just more fun to like bring your girlfriends because you know you're going to have that good time. And I'm like, I'm not just going to bring this guy just so I can hear X, Y, and Z shut up about like me.
Also, we go to the University of No Husbands, so it's really it's really just, and it's true to its name. I feel like it's just really hard to find. Like, boys go into college, I feel like, and they're like, oh my god, I'm a freshman in college, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. And then then you think that they start kind of getting mature, and like some of them start getting girlfriends, and then it hits junior and senior year again, and they're like, I'm about to graduate from college, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. Like, it's just the entire time.
And even
maybe
after.
and maybe you find like a couple really good ones along the way, but for the majority of us, like the pool that we're working with is so like, it's so difficult to find like a good guy that has good intentions. Like, and if you're not into hookup culture, then you're at even more of a disadvantage. Like, hookup culture, if you're mentally stable enough to deal with that, then God bless you. But for those of us that aren't, it's a lot more difficult to find a guy that wants the same
No, literally
things.
talking to my parents, like I told them about like talking stage, this and this, and they're like, why don't you just date?
Yeah, they're like, what
And
are
it's
you
like,
not doing?
This generation doesn't do that. It's so different. So your parents like probably won't fully understand what you're going through sometimes because like this generation, you go through like maybe a hooking up, a talking stage, then maybe dating, and all that.
Situationship, like
then you're exclusive,
like,
but
all
you're not
that.
dating.
Like they won't understand. And
that
like,
was tough.
I would talk to my parents and be like, oh, like my friends have been on a date, and then the next week they don't even talk. Like this generation is so like messed up, honestly. Me. And I'm like, at this generation, it's so messed up, and I wish multiple times that I grew up in my parents' generation because the love like is so much different than the love
like
these
Allie
days.
and Noah, is that what's that?
The Notebook.
The Notebook. Like, that love is not real right now.
But I do also think it is our age. I think, like Morgan said, a lot of boys will come into college and be like, oh my god, like, first time living away from my parents. Like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. This is so awesome.
Or they like just broke up with their high school girlfriend.
Right, and they're like,
ready to
freedom!
go crazy.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of guys have that mentality coming into college. But that's not to say you can't find someone that's a genuine guy and wants to be with you. And I think if you have a boyfriend, don't don't drive yourself crazy and think to yourself, like, is he going to break up with me when we graduate? Because he's going to want that sense of freedom. Like, that's not what we're saying at all. I think it's more so just don't be down on yourself for just living in our generation. Like, you're not at fault. It's just the culture that we have, which is unfortunate, but it kind of is what it is, and you just kind of have to power through.
And there's like the good guys too. Like 3 out of 7 of us have boyfriends, and
we're all great. Like, we all genuinely love them.
Like, we love them all. Like, not our own, but we love them all, and it's like a very like healthy relationship they're on. So like we have so much fun being with them, and like there are those guys out there, but for a lot of parents, I don't think they really.
I was gonna say, don't waste your breath like trying to explain it to your parents. Like, you can tell them how you feel about and like what you're going through, but like at some point they might not really understand it, and don't make yourself feel insane like trying to explain it to someone that might not really understand because they haven't lived it.
I was just gonna say like exactly what Morgan just said, like protect your peace in the sense of like, okay, I've talked about this to my parents before, maybe you need to like set some boundaries in the sense of I'm good on my own, I don't need a guy right now or a girl, whatever. Like, that doesn't, just because I'm not in a relationship doesn't mean that something needs
like you're
to
not
be
unlovable
changed.
and, like,
Exactly. So
and honestly, stop justifying
go to someone
it to your parents at
and
some
go
point.
to exactly. You have to just
This is just my life, mom and dad. It's
just my life.
Not a phase, Mom.
But like go to, like people have already said, like go to people that can relate. Like go to friends that are like in the same age group as you, because we all get it. We're all in the same boat with that situation. So like even if parents don't understand, you can only try so hard, but going to the people that can relate makes things a lot easier.
And okay, I feel like we did a good job, guys. Good job.
Yeah, I think that was really good.
I feel like we were really funny and also really
like helpful.
Yeah, I think we had
if
some
you
good
would like to
advice in
thank
there.
us, feel free.
I am like, please, if you sent in one of these questions and you feel like the answer was good, and you please, oh my god, please,
Or if you
DM
hate it,
on the
or
bright
if you
side.
hated
Or
it.
like if you have like a different,
Or like, hey, my
you-
man who's living with that girl, if you told her how you felt, or if you didn't,
know,
please,
yeah.
I really want an update.
Yeah. It
Send
will
an
go.
update.
It will go straight to our heads, but
no, because we've been saying we've wanted to do this, and we all graduate. Well, not all of us, but like we all are leaving this apartment in 1 month, and
2 days.
God, Lauren.
but who knows? Maybe we'll be back with final time
With a
graduating, post grad.
Wait, maybe you guys will want a part 2.
Like with that, we love you all, and we hope you enjoyed our advice.
Bye, Brightsiders.
Bye.